Well, and conclusions then. Conclusions. So first of all, we have achieved in hydrocarbon plasma a heterogeneous detonation mode based on stimulated linear. So created by a trigger magnetic compressor, a mechanism which they call a broader trigger mechanism that causes linear. But for us, it's a magnetic compressor, so to speak, the mechanism of a magnetic compressor. So this very heterogeneous plasmoid HP consists of inexpensive carbon nanoclusters. So the average size of these nanoparticles is from 10 to 15. They are almost monostructural. 15 nanometers is what we observed under the electron microscope. Well, and quite a large concentration of ions from the hydrocarbon, this working body. So there we have it at the level of 10 to the 19th, and this plasma is heated to 3 electron volts. That is 30,000 degrees of proton heating. Well, 3 electron volts, it's not 3 keV, which is needed in a tokamak. 3 electron volts, but it's a high temperature, 30,000 degrees. Don't forget here. The optical spectra show that there are plenty of transmuted elements that are not present anywhere in the construction elements. Especially a lot of lithium is produced there, and zinc, which are, well, lithium is a product of hydrogen fusion, and zinc, it's clear that hydrogen combines with metal atoms, copper. Our electrodes were made of copper. Well, the next element is copper plus hydrogen. That's zinc, obviously. Moreover, we simultaneously say not just these elements, meaning there's aluminum 1, calcium 1, or aluminum 2, calcium 2, zinc 2, but they have an excitation energy of 40 electron volts. In such a plasma, where electrons have 3 electron volts, creating such formations is impossible. What do I want to emphasize? That is, the plasma itself cannot produce such excited states. Well, and there is intense soft radiation up to 2 kilo-electron volts, and we also registered a neutron flux using neutron sensors. Although we say it cautiously, it might be some kind of decoys there. So, well, from the measurements, so to speak, the energy ones, essentially. What makes our calorimeter good and traditional calorimeters bad? You understand that energy is a scalar, and measuring a scalar is always a thankless task. There are many losses in energy. So, much more precisely, there you can measure vector quantities using resonance methods. So what do we measure? The force acting on the piezo sensor, pressure. Well, this can be measured much more easily and accurately. Therefore, this calorimeter, well, by definition, has accuracy higher than any of those flow variants where heating is measured. For example, the gas, that is the temperature of the gas, the flow rate of the gas, but it will always be more accurate. It will always win. So, regarding this figure of 2 mega electron volts per atom, well, of course, it still needs to be discussed in detail and questioned, but it seems to me that there are fewer and fewer errors. We started with kV. In stationary conditions, in a stationary reactor, we had approximately the same consumption, meaning 1 milligram per second of electrodes evaporated, but there were only keVs. And I was sure that the correlation was good with X-rays. And so, since X-ray keV there and here, it turns out to be keV per atom. So we saw my water is heating up in the reactor. There, well, we looked at the heating, or there at the temperature of the output gas in the flow calorimeter. That is an extra 3 kilowatts. You divide this extra 3 kilowatts by this consumption. It turned out to be a keV, and here it turned out to be a MeV. For a long time, I didn't believe Parkhomov that it was indeed much higher there. Well, what can you do? I have to admit, so to speak, that Sasha was right. That's it. I finished. I believe that this work, it undeservedly, so to speak, maybe consciously, so to speak, we have stepped over, surpassed Nolita's work. He argued with me for a long time. I tried to convince him that this work needed to be detailed and discussed in our community. I got a response twice. Actually, the commission only worked in the poster section. Well, in the poster section, so be it. And with that, thank you.